Hi everybody, it's Sally from Sallystampers. Thank you for joining me today. Today I'm bringing you my Notecard gift bag, a cute little box bag held together with a magnet just in there, one there and one there. And as you can see, it's got two lovely compartments that you could, yeah, I'm obsessed with cookies right now, but yeah, you could get a cookie in there and one in there. You could put note cards, tea bags, I don't know, yeah, the opportunities are endless, aren't they? But you could fit some nice little gifts in there, maybe add a sentiment on the panels here of the pockets, nice little clip shut, and then a nice little decoration on the front. I love in symmetry and sweet symmetry, really pretty DSP, really pretty little box, and yeah, I'll show you how to make it. It looks complicated, but it really isn't. So, to start off with, then you will need a sheet of cardstock that is 12 by 6. Excuse me. So 12 by 6. So yes, you will need 12 by 12, but you can obviously get 2 out of one sheet. On the short side, so 12 by 6, 30.5 by 15 centimetres. On the short side, we're going to score at 1 inch and 5 inches, which is 2.5 and 12.5 centimetres. You can rotate it either way, it won't matter. And then we're going to score on the long side at 1, 4.5, 5.5, 6.5, 10 and 11. And in centimetres that will be 2.5, 11.5, 14, 16.5, 25.5 and 28. Okay, we'll do some folding and some burnishing of these lovely score lines. Quite a few, so work your way along. Okay, so we're going to start with the end with the single panel here. So the top end has 2, so we're going to start at this bottom end here, and we are simply going to create some wedges here and on the opposite side too. Then we are going to go to the centre 2 squares here, and we're going to cut down the centre. And then what you probably want to do is you can fold the bottom one in, and what we want to create here are our wedges facing each other. Okay, so I'm going to do that one that way, and then I'm going to spin this round, tuck that one under, and repeat. So cut down there. Okay, so back round this way, so you have them facing each other. Okay, so you're going to repeat that on this side as well. So you cut down the centre to sort of separate them, and then, as I say, create the wedges. I do apologise if you can hear the noise. It would appear that the day I've decided to do this, we have people drilling and hammering outside. So I apologise if that's... And I've also got my tumble dryer on. So yeah, lots of noise today. Okay, so once you've done that, so I'll go back this way. So the bottom is the single with those 2 tabs there. Then the centre we have tabs facing each other. Then at the top here, so I'm going to spin it round now so that this is at the bottom facing me because it's easier. So you've got your 2 panels here. We're going to cut down past the first horizontal score line down to the second, cut away the first one and create a tab out of this one. Okay, repeat again the other side. So we're going to cut down past the first horizontal score line, get rid of it, and then create some wedges. So you should now have a piece that looks like this. Okay, Right, next. The top single panel here, if I can just grab it, I'm going to round the corners. So I'm just going to tuck those out of the way to make life a little bit easier. And then that side too. Okay, so those are now rounded. Okay, I'm going to add my beautiful designer series paper, my DSP, and these panels are 3 3¾ by 3 3/8, 3.5 by 8.5 in centimetres. Make sure you get your panel the correct way round. Pop those on the main sections of your box stroke bag there. Okay, this is obviously going to be the base, so then we need to add panels to the top. So you need 3 for the top, which technically is, turn it sideways, these 2 here and this one. So for the top, so I have an extra piece of card here that will fit just over the top, but it is a fraction narrower there. I can't remember the size, but it will be the same size as the DSP. It will just have a corner around it, and obviously we need to add our magnet. So the magnet will go on this piece, so I'm going to adhere my strips of DSP here. So for the tops you need them to be 3/4 by 3 3/4 or 9.5 by 2 centimetres. So actually, yes, thinking about it, I'm going to pop that one on there, and then let me just, do you know when your brain just doesn't work? So actually this is going underneath to hide the magnet. That's why I did it that way. So I'll come back to that one. So I need to round the corner of one of my DSP here. And then add some adhesive to that. That one will just sit on there. And then this one, yes, this one has my magnet underneath. So I have these little tiny magnets. So I've got 2 there. I'm going to put those away because otherwise I lose them. So as you can see, they're already stuck together as they should be. Now I did actually use wet glue for this because I found this a lot easier. So I'm going to pop some wet glue on here. I'm going to take my magnets and I'm going to separate them, but the piece that's joined together, I'm going to keep that facing down. Add a dab of glue just on the top there and just a little bit around, just to help hold that DSP down. And then I'm going to pop that over the top. Now obviously if you want to measure this to make sure your magnet is in the centre, then by all means do that. I don't, and I don't quite know whether that makes me a slapdash crafter or just a lucky crafter, because I generally get it in the right place. So yeah, so that is my, if you want to add you know, like a paper clip or something over the top just to hold that DSP and this magnet in place, then that's fine. So when I now come round to adding the second piece, it's going to go together like so. So I obviously need to make sure, she says, having had put the paper clip on, let's get rid of that, that my magnet will sit like so. So I now know that that is the side that needs to be adhered. I'm going to actually add my adhesive to this piece here. So I've got some on there, and then I'm going to add a bit here because I want to take my magnet off, flip it over, And then I'm actually going to eyeball this by putting that there. So I know my magnet is there. That's in the right place. Then I'm going to pop this over the top. And then just before it sets too hard, just ensure that it's straight. So it needs to go a fraction that way, and I'm literally just going to give it a little push because I know it'll slide. And yes, there we go. I know that that now sits nicely on my box, and again just press that down. If you need to add a clip or anything, you know, you can use one of these types of clips. As you saw, I had a paper clip. You can use a peg, anything really that will hold those in place. Okay, so let's get rid of those then, because I don't need them now. So now I want to make up this part of my box. So flipping it back over now, I need to add adhesive to these 8 tabs here. Again, you can use whichever adhesive you prefer. I should probably be better off using my Seal Plus just because it's slightly stronger on card. So I'm just adding it to all of these tabs here. And then, as you would imagine, you just go along and build these up. So they are evident where they go because they fold into a 90-degree box shape. Okay. If you want to place it on the desk and get that bone folder in there just to give it an extra press, then by all means. And then back to this side. This is where it gets a little bit fiddly now because you've got this other box sort of in the way. And then this one obviously goes round onto here. There we go. So that is just simply making up 2 boxes, and then they just sit together like so. Whoops. So I did make one up in centimetres. It's obviously I didn't go too crazy with it, but as you can see, the pocket fits nicely inside and it sits together. I didn't add the magnet. Those are the measurements. It's pretty much the same size. Yeah, pretty much the same size all the way around. That is the centimetre version. Okay, so now we need to add some adhesive to these sides. So I have to label them because there were so many, and there was, as you equally know, you have to think of directional DSP as well. So yeah, had to do that one. So you need 4 of these. And these are 3/4 by 3 3/8 or 8.5 by 2 centimetres. You can do it whilst it's flat, but obviously you need to think which way. I mean, it doesn't massively matter for this DSP, thankfully, because the flowers seem to run both ways. But yeah, if you've got directional, you need to think about which way up they're going. I don't know why I keep putting this so close to the top, but hey ho. Okay, so those are the sides there. And then you need to add your pockets. So I have 2 pieces of cardstock that are 2 5/8 by 5 3/4, 6.9 by 14.6. So I didn't use shims or anything like that. And we then need to just score them on 3 sides. So that's 2 short and 1 long at 7/8 of an inch or 2.4 centimetres. So there's that one, that one, that one, and then the same again, scoring those 3 sides, so 2 short, 1 long. And again, fold and burnish your score lines. And your DSP for your pockets is 3 7/8 of an inch by 1 5/8, which is 9.3 by 4 centimetres. Pop that on the main panel there. I just figured I'd get this bit done. It was easier to... What's going on here? Oh, it's run out. Don't panic. I always have my spare ready. Oh, I've actually put my fingers on the tape on the reel, so that's not really helpful, is it? Okay, try again. There we go. Oh, come on. What's happening? Thought we had some. Yes, we do. There we go. So add that onto my pockets. And then when you do your tabs, it would be easier to do them this way. So cut them from the base upwards. The reason being then is that when you fasten them, they will close that way and not affect. If you cut them this way, they're going to fold up. I will do it just to show you because it won't matter for this box. If you do your tabs this way, when you then close it up, if you're trying to put anything in the box, in the pocket, it may well keep catching on this and obviously pull it. Whereas if you do it that way, it's across the base, so anything you put in just sits on it. So always do them, if you're going to use them as a pocket, do them from the bottom up. Makes life just a little bit easier. Okay, so both the same. Cut those wedges there, and then again we're going to make these up. So as I said, just tuck them under, create those little pockets. Have to do one odd way. That's okay. Still works, it's not a problem. Okay, so made my pockets up. They now need to sit in my box. Now it's entirely up to you which way you do this. I did find it easier to use tear and tape simply because you can cut it, stick it on, peel it off. It's easier. You can use your Seal Plus. You can either do it over the edge of a table like so. So you've got the edge of a table to lean on. Or if failing that, if you really aren't, you can either use, you could use wet glue, which again would make life easier. I'm doing it this way just because obviously I want to be a bit quicker, show you guys. So I'm literally just rolling this. You probably want it close to this edge as well, so that it stays nice. And then you're going to simply pop this in. It doesn't sit, well, it doesn't sit all the way back, so don't put it right to the back of the box. Pop your sides in place first, so make sure they're flush with the sides of your box, and then your base should sit in place. Okay, so it will just sit flush then, but as I said, it's not quite deep enough that it will sit to the back. So we're going to repeat that with this one. So I'm just going to go all the way along here, and it actually works quite well. Like, it works better like this than it does on the desk. So yeah, so just repeat that process again. So I'm just going to tuck that in. I'm also pushing it down so that the corner is in this corner. So I'm quite happy that that's flush. this one is flush too, and then I'm going to push that base down there. And then obviously, as you can see how pretty now my pockets are, that will now sit together. And then your handle, so I have my rounded corners just here, so they're sort of at the back. My handle is 1 inch by 9.5, or that's 2.5 by 24. And what I'm going to do is use my bone folder to curve my cardstock first. I'm also going to do the same with my DSP. And that is because when I stick it on, I don't want it to move. Okay, so now it's curled, which is a bit frustrating when you're trying to adhere it, but I'm going to run that adhesive all the way down. And then I'm going to add, oh my goodness, I'm getting seriously stuck here. So I'm just going to add it there, and then just try and make sure you keep it straight and equal with your sides. Okay. And then just give it another little curl so it automatically does the bend. And then when you adhere it, you only want to add it to half, because it sits over half of the box. So it looks like it's sort of on both sides, but it actually only sits on a half. So again, all I'm going to do is just add a strip to either side, and just make sure you add it to the same side. And then this just sits on the side of your box. Now again, if you want to measure, go ahead. I don't generally measure, but equally if you've got a small gaping box like I seem to have here, it kind of hides that a little bit too. Oh, I've put it on the wrong side. Never mind, never mind. And oh yes, I just need to decorate, nearly forgot. So I have a piece of basic white that is, let's go that way, 3 by 3 1/8. I have no clue, but that's probably because of the stamp, which is this gorgeous in symmetry. And I have picked this large flower here, which I'm going to stamp in beautiful bumblebee. So I have the slightly wider by 1/8 this side. I don't know why I've got a score line on it. And I'm going to stamp my flower sort of top half, if you like. And then I'm going to ink it up, turn it round. Excuse my head. I'm going to line it up and stamp the second half. So I've created a full flower. And then last but not least, I think it's Night Navy that I used for the sentiment, which I lit. Did you see what I did there? I tried to actually stick the sentiment onto my block. Goodness me. So yeah, so stamp that on top of there. And then last but not least, let's round some nice corners, because we're going to get our use out of this corner round today. And then last thing is just some dimensionals on the back. I mean, you can obviously add more to this if you wish. I just quite like a simple stamped image. Take the backing off. I'm very mindful I've got like 13 seconds left, because I don't want to be going over crazy time. Okay, so that's a slightly bigger piece of cardstock, and that's now come off too. And crumbs, there we go. And there we have them. Finally finished my note card gift bags. Thanks for joining me, and I'll see you all soon. Bye.